Borderlands 2 is, if the name doesn't already give it away, the second entry into Gearbox Software's franchise Borderlands. This game was released in September 2012, and similar to its predecessor, became a success with fans and critics alike. In fact, it was so successful it became 2K's top-selling game of all time in 2014. Recently, we played through Borderlands 2, and to follow up on a review we did on the first one a few weeks ago, here's how the second Borderlands game holds up in 2018, early 2019 really. Might it even be better than the first one? Let's go ahead and get right into it. The game starts you off with a cutscene that basically explains everything you need to know before jumping right into the game, even if you haven't played through the first game. While the actual ending of the first one might have been a little disappointing after you open the vault, there was still one big impact that it had. A new element called Iridium started surfacing on the planet and immediately caught everyone's attention. Primarily, the Hyperion Corporation, led by Handsome Jack, started becoming really active in mining this new resource. Claiming to restore order to the planet Hyperion, would soon start attacking various settlements on Pandora and establish its own rule. Eventually, they would discover evidence of another vault hidden somewhere on Pandora and make it their objective to find it. This would then lead to the ongoing race to the second vault between the new set of main characters and the game's antagonists and Hyperion President Handsome Jack. Hyperion's arrival on Pandora has plunged the planet into the massive conflict you're amidst of, and it's rumored that the vault holds the means for Handsome Jack to take over the planet. While the endgame might still be all about a vault at the end of it all, the way to it couldn't be more different. It's not just about being a vault hunter that wants to become rich anymore. It's about war and survival. Not only are the stakes higher, since losing the war spells total annihilation, things are especially personal between you and Jack, because the game starts off with him trying to have you assassinated. One of our biggest, if not the biggest complaint about Borderlands 1 was its weak plot, but fortunately, Gearbox had listened to the criticism and stepped up their writing quite a bit. Borderlands 2 has a way more intricate plot than the first one. This time around, the goals are set so you'll be reaching and opening the vault, keeping Pandora safe, defeating Hyperion, and first and foremost, taking that revenge on Handsome Jack, which are the main end goals this time around. Furthermore, Handsome Jack actually makes for a strong villain, and he's a big part of what makes the story so fun and appealing. Jack is the kind of love-to-hate villain who manages to be an intimidating opponent and a hilarious character at the same time. You never meet him in person until late in the game, but he still has a lot of presence regardless. Like the antagonist from BioShock games, he'll constantly talk to you over a communicator and uses every chance he gets to battle your efforts. If he ever happens to get a leg up on you, he'll make sure to rub it in your face. He's so easy to hate for being the despicable maniac that he is, but at the same time, he also manages to feel human, and even a little sympathetic once you start to learn more about him. He's still a piece of crap, but a well-written one nonetheless. And when we said they stepped up the writing quite a bit, we really did mean it. From the player's perspective, it of course looks like you're doing the right thing, but Pandora isn't really a functioning society to begin with. While Jack may not be better than all the other bandits or psychos, he does want to bring order to a lawless planet that somewhat needs it. Now your goal is to stop Jack from cleansing the entire planet, but at the same time, defeating Hyperion also means keeping Pandora's dysfunctional status quo intact. There really is no clean-cut right or wrong in the story. But as serious as the plot can get, Borderlands hasn't forgotten to sneak a lot of humor in its story. The game is packed with jokes about internet culture, adultery, and violence. Of course, not every joke is guaranteed to land, but Borderlands 2 is large parts of a funny game, and the comedy has aged actually rather well. The original characters also make a return, and you'll encounter them as NPCs who all serve vital roles in the story. There's something really satisfying meeting a character you've played on before and interacting with them. Turning Roland and co into NPCs really allows the game to flesh them out and add extra charm to the story we already knew. The majority of the NPCs from the first game all make a return alongside various newcomers. They are directly involved in the story and or will be quest providers. Graphically, the game is carried still by its art style. The cell shading ensures that the game stands out next to all the realistic looking shooters thanks to its comic book aesthetic. It's unique and vibrant no matter which year it is. The graphics are generally on point and a huge part of why the game, optically, is still great. The gameplay of every Borderlands game basically comes down to shooting and looting. You either do it alone or you can do it with your friends. Co-op is a huge selling point for this game and probably makes the game 10 times more fun. The amount of different enemies will prevent firefights from feeling repetitive, though the fact that enemies respawn can sometimes be annoying. And what's better than killing enemies is killing them and then taking their gun. Borderlands 2 is really loot heavy, though I doubt anyone is surprised by that. The gazillion guns are obviously a little exaggerated, but it's pretty darn close. The best aspect about the guns is the level of diversity that is provided by the different manufacturers. Weapons feel more distinct. For example, TDR weapons used to be known for their quick reload speed, but now they have added gimmick that if you reload, you throw the weapon for it to blow and explode. As the rarity of the guns go up, they receive a unique effect. Those can range from conventional stuff like lifesteal to bizarre ones like firing exploding swords and projectiles, cause why not? This applies in a similar fashion to shields, grenades, and other items you equip as well, where some of them give you health while others grant you a bonus, or really rare ones will possess unique abilities as well. The game offers various items for various playstyles, and players are free to choose depending on what suits their character or their preference the most. Even though they switched up the gun system a little bit, the actual loot drops in general are rather disappointing. This is probably one of the biggest nitpicks with Borderlands 2. Compared to the first one, you won't be finding good items as often anymore. Weapon chests almost never offer anything worthwhile, except mostly bad pistols and grenade mods. It's probably the part that feels the most repetitive when you loot chest number 500 and it's still only giving you common items. Additionally, the violence has been toned down a lot. Exploding heads and flying limbs are a thing of the past, and this didn't sit well with many people when the game originally released. But we found that the reason was somewhat justified, or at least to an extent we can understand Gearbox Software's desire to avoid censorship altogether. If we take into consideration how heavily censored the first game was in various countries, I guess it makes sense why Borderlands 2 got censored as well. Borderlands 2 is universally uncensored at the cost of less gore. It's a shame, but it didn't diminish any aspects of the game or the overall game experience. Another strong part of the game is its open world. It's a lot similar to the first game, but areas feel less repetitive this time. Not everything is just brown wasteland. Environments reach from green hills to molten rock. Exploring the world is quite fun, and searching the map for all the little secrets will lead you to really interesting places. Now that we've talked about story, graphics, and gameplay, there's a big part of Borderlands 2 we haven't talked about yet: the different classes and characters that you get to play. This time around, as before mentioned, you get to play as a new cast of Vault Hunters. There's Axton the Commando, Maya the Siren, Salvador the Gunzerker, and Zero the Assassin. They are all complete newcomers to the series, but at the same time are similar enough to the characters from the first game, and the game gives players a fair idea of each character's playstyle right off the bat. That said, the new cast aren't clones of the originals, although they share similar features. They vary enough in action skill and skill trees to keep them distinct and fresh. Let's take Siren for example. Maya has a strong affinity with elemental weapons and similar skills boosting her critical damage, just like Lilith did, but she also has a skill tree dedicated to healing and more of a supportive playstyle in general. Her action skills is also completely different. Maya uses her phase abilities on her enemies instead of herself like Lilith did. The so-called phase lock holds down a single opponent while dealing damage. It's not even remotely as powerful as the invincibility phase walk, but has more applications and it's a lot more teamwork oriented for co-op play. The classes are a big part of the game's replayability. You have characters on the surface that look like they're just clones from the first game, but the additions they did to the skill trees really allow players to figure out different builds for each character. You can play Zero, the sniper assassin, like Mordecai from the first one, but you can also try a melee focused build on him. Borderlands 2 has a lot of different options with these characters. The base game comes with 4 characters, and additionally Gearbox released 2 DLC Vault Hunters, Gage the Necromancer, and Krieg the Psycho. Krieg is especially cool, since you get to play as a Psycho class. While overall, we only criticize loot drops and maybe the turned down violence compared to the first one, there are still some other little nitpicks that we have. There still isn't any kind of unique character interactions. Also, for whatever reason, you can't replay audio logs anymore as they get interrupted by other audio lines starting to play at the same time, which after a while gets really frustrating. Leaked numbers have also revealed that Steam has over 11 million players with Borderlands 2, making it one of Steam's top 50 games, and according to Valve, it still managed to become one of 2018's top-selling games. That's why we would recommend you pick up the Handsome Jack collection on a Steam sale for around $12, which includes Borderlands 2 with all the DLC, which means 2 DLC classes, 4 different campaigns, and a lot of minor content such as skins, level expansion packs, and it also comes with Borderlands the pre-sequel, which is another full Borderlands game. Buying the DLC separate can be somewhat tricky since, for whatever stupid reason, the Season Pass doesn't contain all the DLC. Yeah, don't ever buy the stupid season passes. It's dumb. If you're not looking for a PC version of Borderlands 2 and you're looking for an Xbox sale or a PlayStation sale, you should still pick up the Handsome Jack collection, which is regularly on sale either digitally or on sites like Amazon. Borderlands 2 is still at the peak of the franchise and still holds up really well to this day. Besides the minor nitpicks, it's a really great game. Probably one of the best options if you're looking for a fun co-op game. For this one, we're giving this game an A-, and it deserves all the praise it gets, even after all these years. We definitely recommend you pick this one up. And if you liked this video or you're looking for other Vault Hunters to play with, leave a comment down below and let us know what you liked about Borderlands 2. If you like what we do here, we do a ton of other retrospective videos on games that kind of came out in the early 2010s, late 2000s. And if you like that type of content, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss what we upload next. We'll see you all next time with a brand new video.